This is for the fathers around the globe. We love you more than you'll ever know. For the strength you gave me, you're truly amazing. Happy Father's Day. Place you on the highest pedestal. We love you more than you'll ever know. You chose to man up, you chose to stand up. Happy Father's Day. From my first breath to my first steps, Pops, you took me under your wing. So I'm under a king, which means I was destined to achieve anything, realize any dream, success.
Hello anglers, this is Anglers 48 and welcome to the Anglers 48 show. Thank you for joining us on this episode. It is spring break. We're looking at about Thursday. Today's Thursday, guys, and I just got back. I spent some time with my dad. Took him to go have some breakfast and did a little bit of cleaning up there at the house. Not much, but just a little bit. And just conversed with him, talked to him a little bit about what's going on. Talked to him about my last fishing trips. So today we're going to be talking about saltwater versus freshwater. And I'm not a very big freshwater fisherman. I have been freshwater fishing, a handful of times, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about both of these as the types of fishing. Now, I'm going to be talking about the different types of fish that exist in freshwater and saltwater, as well as where you can find these bodies of water and in what towns are they located. I was going to talk about the pros, cons of saltwater and freshwater and things of that nature, but I really don't know too many hot spots for freshwater to even go, into that topic. So it's just going to be kind of like surface talk, as you will. Excuse me. Now, living here in the deep South Texas, in my generation, there used to be quite a bit of canals in the area where I was raised. Now, some of those canals have been put underground, right, with urbanization and stuff like that, with towns growing. Not very much irrigation is taking place, and if it is, now it's underground. Those they've have tubes now as opposed to open canals. Now you do have those big canals, the ones where I was fishing at, and I'll be putting up some of those pictures of where I go for saltwater and where I go for freshwater. Now, I live in far Texas, and I was born and raised in San Carlos, right, which is considered Edinburgh. And growing up with my dad being an avid fisherman, right, this is kind of interesting because growing up, as a kid, I would go to the canal maybe about several blocks from where I live. I lived out in the country. So there was this canal, and I would get my line and hook, and now I would get some fish. What those fish were, I don't really remember. And I used to get some joy out of that. Very dangerous, right? Anything can happen. There's a lot of tunnels and a lot of water is being pumped out, and you could easily fall in there, and they wouldn't find you for a long time if that were to happen. Now, my father, on occasion, he would take us as a family, and we would go to places like Port Mansfield and the island, and we would just be there, right, while he fished. I have baby pictures and things of that nature. As I got older, we would go on his boat, and we would go to, once again, places like Arroyo on his boat, and places like Port Mansfield. We would do some overnight fishing, and that's where my passion began in saltwater. Now, like for saltwater, we all know there's many species of fish, some that are in there that we don't even know about. Like I've been fishing for many years, so there's still a surprise if I were to end up landing some kind of fish, right? Because of the number of species that are there. But for saltwater, you're looking at reds, trout, flounder, snook, sheep's head, and many more, right? You got your black drum, you got your mackerels, you got your red snappers, deep sea. So there's, hundreds of species over there, right, in saltwater. And some of the most common ones, those are the ones that we used to go and try to catch, right? In freshwater, for instance, you have the carp, just to name a few, the carp, bass, many species of bass. You got the gar, right? And channel cat, several species of those, and others, right? Now, when I was younger, we used to go up north in that Amarillo, in that area, and we used to work in the fields, and they had many lakes. They also had little ponds, right? And this is where they would get the water to irrigate. And while I was there, we would do some fishing, right? There was always a line, there was always a hook, and as kids, we would go and we would catch small cat, and it was more or less release type of thing. And I used to get a kick out of that. It was fun, right? So you start getting older, and you start realizing that, hey, the fishing that my dad was more focused on was saltwater. I don't ever remember him taking me to Rio Grande or to Falcon Lake for freshwater. I don't ever remember being taken to Delta Lake for freshwater, or hitting the canals behind my house, to catch catfish and things of that nature. So I don't remember much of that. Now, I'm thinking that if my father didn't do the saltwater thing, chances are I would have been more into the freshwater. Now, the places to go where you can catch these fish. Now, it depends where you live, right? I live in far, right? So I have to drive pretty far to get to Port Mansfield, to get to Arroyo City, SPI, Brownsville, to get to those spots. There's anglers that I know that they live in Harlingen, a lot closer. Some of them, they live in La Sara. Others, they live in Weslaco, a few miles closer. So it is a challenge, right? When times are a little tough, right? When the fuel is a little expensive, it's kind of hard to get to those places. Back when I was younger, I didn't have all these, you don't have all kinds of bills and stuff. I would be out there constantly. But now you have a family, you have obligations, mortgage, things of that nature. You don't get out there as much. In freshwater, just drive around the country roads, and you're going to find these canals. There's canals in La Villa. There's canals in Mercedes. There's canals in Santa Rosa. There's canals in La Sara. Monte Alto. You have Delta Lake. Some pretty good ones there in Willacy County. The one that I was fishing, I know that I had to. It was around the La Sara area. I said La Sara, pero it's around that area. I actually drove around several of them. The one where we fished, Tony and I, before was off of Highway 490 or FM to Market 490. There's a lot of canals there. Lake. We don't really have lakes here. We have the Falcon Lake. You have the river. I've seen a couple of anglers fishing from small ponds, right? Some good bass. I take that back. During COVID, when they didn't allow us to go very, very far, I would want to go to Delta Lake just to be able to maybe cast out the line a couple of times. Now, some of the good things and bad things, I'm just scratching a little bit of the surface. If you go to Arroyo, there's going to be a sign that says, "Careful with consumption of fish in this body of water." You see that same sign in Delta Lake and some of these other lakes, some of these other places, because of pesticides, right? When I was fishing with Tony, he's like, "Hey man, this fish is good eating." And I'm like, "Can we eat these fish?" You know, I hear the talk about pesticides. I remember hearing about food, fish not being edible in Donna. There's certain areas in Donna where there's all kinds of species of freshwater fish. But they said because of the pesticides that have been used, it's not good to be eating fish like that. So you have that right there. What do you think? Maybe we can eat it, but is it going to hurt us further on? I've been eating fish from Arroyo City for many, many years. That sign says, "Careful, consumption of this is not recommended." What is that? So, is it good to eat? I've been eating fish from Port Mansfield. I've been eating fish from, the Brownsville Chip Channel. So far, good. Now, the dangers, right? When I was fishing, when was it? Monday into Tuesday, I'm like, man, this is it's more dangerous to fish here than it is in Arroyo City or in Port Mansfield. There's a lot of canals. Some of them have an incline. The misstep, fish pulls you in. There's a lot of current underneath. And then you can get sucked in. That's what I tell Tony. Anytime you're out there, especially by yourself, put your jacket on, put your life vest on. You never know. You just never know. I've seen some fishing videos on Facebook where you have these anglers and they're fighting a gar, and there's the water level isn't quite up to the bank. You have a few feet of maybe a low tide, or the water isn't all the way to the top, and I see this guy jumping in. Man, I was at the edge of my seat when I was watching this. I wouldn't be able to do that. What if I lose my balance and that's it? That's the end of anglers. So I've always said canals are a little more dangerous than fishing the banks and the shorelines there at in Port Mansfield or SPI. Simply because you can get caught up, sucked in, and then that's it. I've heard stories of people perishing because they jumped into a canal or they fell into a canal and the current took them away. And then when they're irrigating, there's a lot of current, and then there's just that water is going in, and there's tubes, right? There's pipes and tubes and stuff, and there's a lot of pressure and it's just, and then they have to drain that, right? In case something happens, they have to drain all that to find if there's any, or the person is missing. Now, in Port Mansfield, I got there maybe about 3 a.m. And the plan, like I said, it was to do some saltwater fishing and then do some evening and night freshwater fishing. Saltwater and freshwater. And I was enjoying myself. It does get a little bit, you get tired pretty quick when you're walking 2 or 3 miles. It gets exhausting sometimes. So I was able to catch a couple of them. I did lose some, and I was using the mini clutch, right? If you all want to look into that, it's from the Guggen Squad. Just type in mini clutch, and it's a hard plastic. And this one, it doesn't float on top, right? It sinks, and it's darting in the water. What column is it in? I won't be able to tell you. But it was darting in the water, and very little, it wasn't getting tangled up. I was able to throw it a good distance. So, it makes a rattling noise. So the mini clutch, if you want to look into it, guys, I fell in love with it. After my second cast, I landed that, I think it was like a 15-inch, 16-inch red. And then I lost a trout. And then I lost something big. Take it, nobody was catching that day. I didn't get any bites, any hits on my artificial. The moment I put that one, it produced. And it's the red color. Awesome lure. Okay. Now, the peacefulness of just being out there. Tony and I, we were sitting right by our vehicles. Water was right there by our feet, poles in the water. Check out that video. It's uploaded if you're interested. Just beautiful. Beautiful weather. Overcast. There was a slight breeze. It was coming from the east, but the trees, the tall trees there, were blocking. So we were just getting just the perfect amount of wind. And there was a current, but we were using pyramid weights, and they were good. Sometimes the current is so bad that you cast and you're having to recast again and recast. But it was just good. It was good. The peacefulness of that. I was telling my dad about that, and I had given him a reel. It was a pen reel combo, 309. 309 or 209. It may be the 209. And he's never used it. It was just there. And I asked him, hey man, is it okay if I borrow it? And one thing led to another. We had to go eat breakfast, and then we spent most of the time outdoors talking, chatting. And I left it like that. Okay. But one day I'll get myself into some of those nice fishing poles, fishing reels. Perfect for that kind of fishing. I didn't want to pursue looking for it. You know what I mean? It was a gift to him. And I brought it up. It just, and I left, and that's okay. I was fishing with 12-pound test. What was I going to accomplish? Probably nothing. You had to raise the fish maybe about 3 feet. And that's if it didn't get caught up on those weeds. Tony, he was having a hard time getting it up with 50-pound braided line. Now you're looking at 12 pounds? No. So gear, right? I mean, I caught a 39-inch bull red with 10 pounds. I caught a 43-inch bull red, right, with 10 pounds. I don't think that's gonna work over here, in fresh water, especially when you have to raise it up. And you need a hook, or you need a device to be able to raise it. So, am I gonna go out there again? Yeah, I want to go out there again. I was telling my partner in crime, that would have to be on another vacation time. You know what I mean? I'm not going to give up a weekend to do freshwater. I loved it, right? But there you have it. Saltwater, freshwater. I'm not going to give up a trip to Mansfield where you're going to spend more gas. You have to work a little harder in getting bait, casting the net, as opposed to getting some liver, maybe easily right here at HEB you buy shrimp. I do see some canals close to where I live, and was tempted to go during COVID time, right? Where you're like, it has to be essential, stuff like that. So I was tempted to go by and hit those places. Nothing like where I was fishing, but nonetheless, just to cast out the line, see what's there. Am I fishing the right spot? Don't know. I thought that the best thing to do was on Google Earth, which of those canals ties into the bay or to the arroyo from Rio Hondo. If you're fishing a canal and it's not tying up to, like any of the there's a word, I can't think of it right now, but if I have to do that, I have to do Google Earth and look for any little stream, any little inlet from the bay to that canal. If there's nothing, then chances are it's just going to be all fresh water fish. But I know that there are some canals in Willacy, like in Willamar, and in the town of well, it's eluding me once again. There's a town going towards Port Mansfield, right? And I went there with some friends, and we were fishing off a canal, and it was during the nighttime. Very little water in that canal. Super steep. It was like about 12 feet, but steep. But very little water. And in that little piece of water, I was able to catch like a 10-inch red. So there were redfish in that canal. Could there be bigger? Yeah, possibly. But once again, guys, that's gonna do it for the most part. Talking about freshwater and saltwater. My thing is once again saltwater. But I did love this experience that I just had. I wish could have caught some fish. Maybe some bass, catfish. Tony cooked his catfish, the one he caught. He caught two, one got away, so he did cook those up. But we'll see what happens, guys. I'm not gonna go fishing the rest of spring break. Quality time here at the house. That's why. It was like a full-blown fishing day, salt and fresh, and it was early on Monday. Now we're looking at gusty winds, cold front coming in on Saturday with rain. So our next break, what is it? Easter break? I'll be off probably Friday and Monday. We'll see what happens there. Check out some of my videos, guys. I encourage you to subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment. I would greatly appreciate to hear what you guys have to say. And I would like to invite you to join my fishing group. It's called Anglers 48 Fishing Addict. You can post any fishing experience that you've had, video or picture, that your people know, let your friends know, about Anglers 48, and if they wish to put anything up. Okay, I'll leave you with that, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see what happens, guys, on this next fishing trip. Maybe we'll head back out there to do some freshwater fishing again. Okay, I'll leave you with that, guys.